That insistent nudge in the dead of night. The familiar walk down the darkened hallway. Most men over 60 have accepted this nightly pilgrimage to the bathroom as an unavoidable part of getting older. But what if I told you that this disruption, this thief of your sleep, is not just an inconvenience? What if it's one of your body's most important and most ignored warning signs? A message from your heart, your hormones, and even your brain trying desperately to get your attention. I'm Dr. Benjamin Carter. For more than 2 decades as a urologist and men's health expert, I've sat with thousands of men who come into my office looking tired. Not just sleepy, but bone-weary, their vitality slowly being siphoned off, night after night. They come to talk about their prostate, but the real issue is the profound loss of restorative sleep and the cascade of problems that follows. Daytime fatigue, a fog in their thinking, a quiet drain on their mood and their confidence. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on nocturia, the medical term for waking at night to urinate. We're going to treat it not as a simple plumbing issue, but as a crucial piece of your overall health puzzle. Many men believe this is purely a prostate problem. And while the prostate often plays a role, focusing on it alone is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. It's like hearing a fire alarm and only checking the battery instead of looking for the smoke. There are powerful, hidden forces at play that most doctors don't have the time to discuss in a 15-minute appointment. And I promise you, by the time we're finished here, you'll understand your body in a way you never have before. Make sure you stay with me until the very end, because I will reveal the one specific, seemingly healthy evening habit that is a secret saboteur of a man's sleep, directly contributing to these nighttime awakenings. It's a mistake I see countless well-intentioned men make, and it has nothing to do with coffee or alcohol. If you are ready to stop being a prisoner to your bladder and start reclaiming your nights, your energy, and your life, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Your journey to deeper understanding starts here. And if this struggle feels personal to you, if you know that feeling of dread when your eyes snap open at 3 a.m., just type enough in the comments below. Let's acknowledge this shared battle together. Now, let's begin by addressing the most common suspect, the one every man points his finger at. Because to understand the whole story, we must first understand the role of the prostate, but also its limitations in explaining this nightly ordeal. The first area we must explore is what I call the mechanical squeeze, your bladder and prostate in conflict. It's true, for many men over 60, the prostate gland, which sits just below the bladder and surrounds the urethra, begins to enlarge. This is a non-cancerous condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. I often describe it to my patients like this. Imagine the urethra is a garden hose. The prostate, as it grows, gently but persistently puts a foot on that hose. The stream weakens. It takes longer to get started, and most importantly, you often can't empty the tank completely. Your bladder, which is a magnificent muscular organ, has to work harder to push urine past this obstruction. Over years of this extra work, the bladder muscle can become thicker, more irritable, and more sensitive. It's like a person who is constantly being interrupted. Eventually, they become jumpy and overreactive. This creates a vicious cycle. Because you're not emptying fully, there's always some residual urine left behind. This means the bladder fills up to its gotta-go threshold much faster. At the same time, its own wall has become twitchy. So even a small amount of urine can trigger a powerful, urgent signal to the brain, waking you from a deep sleep. I'll never forget a patient of mine, a wonderful man named George, who was a 68-year-old retired civil engineer. George was a man of precision and planning. He had designed bridges to withstand earthquakes, but he couldn't engineer a way to sleep through the night. He came to me defeated. He said, "Dr. Carter, my life has become a series of calculations. I can't go to a movie without choosing an aisle seat. I can't go on a road trip without mapping out every single rest stop. When my wife and I go to bed, I feel this anxiety building, just waiting for the first alarm from my own body. It's not the getting up that's killing me. It's the dread. It's the feeling that I'm no longer in control." George's story wasn't about pain. It was about the psychological chains of a bladder that held him captive. He felt his world shrinking, his freedom being eroded, one bathroom trip at a time. The societal pressure on men to be stoic meant he hadn't spoken about the emotional toll of this to anyone, not even his wife. He just saw it as a personal failing, a weakness. For men like George, and for many of you, the first line of defense is practical and powerful. The solution starts not with a pill, but with strategy. First, master your fluid intake. Hydration is vital for your health, but timing is everything. Make it a rule to stop all significant fluid intake 2 to 3 hours before you plan to go to sleep. This gives your kidneys the time they need to process fluids while you're still awake. Second, practice what we call double voiding. Before you go to bed, urinate as you normally would. Then wait for 30 to 60 seconds. Sit back down, relax, and try again. You will often be surprised that you can pass a bit more urine. This simple technique helps ensure the bladder is as empty as possible before you lie down, buying you precious extra time. Finally, become aware of your pelvic floor. These are the muscles that support your bladder and prostate. Learning to relax them fully can aid in more complete emptying. It's not about aggressive Kegel exercises. For many men with BPH, it's about learning to let go, not clench. These steps gave George a tangible sense of control. It wasn't a magic cure, but it reduced his nightly trips from 4 to 2, and sometimes even 1. The real victory, he told me later, wasn't just the extra sleep. It was silencing that voice of dread. He was starting to take back the night, but this is only the first layer. For many men, the prostate is only a co-conspirator. The real mastermind is hiding in plain sight, and it has everything to do with the magnificent and often overlooked plumbing of your entire body. Let's move on to our second, and perhaps most surprising area of discovery: the great fluid shift, or the heart and kidney connection. This is a concept that is a complete revelation for most of my patients. Think about your day. If you're like most people, you spend a good portion of it sitting or standing. Gravity is a constant force, and over the hours, it pulls fluid down into your lower body, particularly your legs and ankles. You might notice your socks leave a deeper indent at the end of the day. This is a mild form of edema, and it's very common. Now, what happens when you finally lie down in bed? Gravity is no longer a factor. All that excess fluid that was pooled in your legs is now free to re-enter your bloodstream. Your circulatory system, managed by your heart, dutifully pumps this extra volume of fluid to your kidneys. Your kidneys, being the diligent filters they are, get to work processing this new fluid and turning it into urine. They are essentially doing a whole second shift of work, right when you're trying to sleep. Your bladder begins to fill up at a much faster rate than it did during the day, inevitably waking you up. For men with even mild inefficiencies in their cardiovascular system, this effect is magnified dramatically. In fact, for some men, severe nocturia can be one of the earliest signs of congestive heart failure. Your nightly bathroom trips could be a profound message from your heart. I remember a patient named David, a 71-year-old retired postal worker. For 35 years, he had walked a male route on his feet all day long. For the past decade, he had been waking up 3 to 4 times a night. He'd seen multiple doctors, been on several medications for his prostate, and nothing had worked. He was beyond frustrated. He was despairing. He felt like his body was fundamentally broken and no one could tell him why. When he told me his life story, a light bulb went on. All those years on his feet. I examined his legs, and sure enough, they were subtly swollen. His prostate problem wasn't primarily a prostate problem at all. It was a fluid management problem rooted in his circulation. The solution for David was life-altering in its simplicity. I instructed him to do 2 things. First, starting about 2 hours before bed, he was to lie on the couch or in a recliner with his feet elevated above the level of his heart. He would read a book or watch television. This simple act allowed all that pooled fluid in his legs to drain back into his circulation while he was still awake. His kidneys did their work. He urinated it out before bed and effectively emptied the reservoirs of his legs. Second, I had him start wearing mild compression socks during the day. This helped prevent the fluid from pooling in the first place. The first time David came back to see me, there were tears in his eyes. He said, "Doctor, Carter, for the first time in 10 years, I slept for 6 straight hours. I feel like a human being again." He had more energy. His mood was lighter. His wife said he was like the man she married. He wasn't broken. He just needed to understand how his body actually worked. This is a powerful lesson. Your body is one interconnected system. What happens in your legs during the day directly impacts what happens in your bladder at night. So if you struggle with nocturia, start paying attention to your legs and your heart. Elevate them before bed. Consider compression socks, and most importantly, keep moving. A daily 30-minute walk is one of the best things you can do for your circulation, your heart, and by extension, your sleep. But even with the pipes and the plumbing sorted out, there is another layer of control, a master command system that operates in the background. This brings us to our third critical area, the hormonal dimmer switch, which is all about your brain and your hormones. During a healthy, deep sleep cycle, your brain's pituitary gland releases a crucial hormone called vasopressin, also known as antidiuretic hormone or ADH. The name says it all. It's the antidiuretic. Its job is to tell your kidneys to slow down urine production overnight, allowing you to sleep for long, uninterrupted stretches. It's your body's own natural sleep protection system. However, as we age, our bodies naturally produce less of this vital hormone. The dimmer switch that turns down kidney function at night isn't as effective. The kidneys keep producing urine at a more daytime-like rate, and your bladder fills up. But there's another, even more insidious saboteur at play here: sleep apnea. This condition, where you repeatedly stop and start breathing during sleep, is incredibly common in men over 60, and it's often undiagnosed. Men just think their loud snoring is a nuisance, but it can be a sign of something far more serious. When you have an apneic event, when you stop breathing, the oxygen levels in your blood drop. Your body panics. The pressure inside your chest cavity changes dramatically, and this signals your heart to release a different hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide, ANP. This hormone has the exact opposite effect of vasopressin. It's a powerful diuretic. It screams at your kidneys, "Emergency! Get rid of fluid now!" So a man with untreated sleep apnea is in a constant hormonal battle all night long. His brain is trying to say, "Stop making urine," while his struggling heart is screaming, "Make more urine." The heart always wins that fight. This is why waking up multiple times to pee is one of the classic hallmark symptoms of obstructive sleep apnea. I think of my patient Frank, a 69-year-old former high school football coach, a big, strong man who was perpetually exhausted. His wife had been elbowing him for years about his snoring, which she said sounded like a dying bear. Frank would just laugh it off. But he was getting up 5, sometimes 6 times a night. He was irritable, forgetful, and he'd almost fallen asleep at the wheel twice. He was convinced he had a terrible prostate problem, or worse. The emotional toll was immense. He felt his mind slipping, his energy gone. His wife was sleeping in the guest room. The intimacy, both emotional and physical, had evaporated from their marriage. I listened to his story and strongly urged him to get a sleep study. He was resistant. It felt like another sign of weakness, another piece of equipment, another problem. But he finally agreed. The results were staggering. He was having over 40 apneic events per hour. His body was in a state of crisis all night, every night. He was prescribed a CPAP machine. The first night was awkward, but he stuck with it. After 1 week, he came back to my office, and he looked 10 years younger. He was sleeping through the night, maybe getting up once at most. The snoring was gone. His energy was back. He told me, "I didn't just get my sleep back, doctor. I got my life back. My wife is back in our bed." I can think clearly again. I had no idea that the key to my bladder was in my breath. The solution here is about recognizing the signs. If you snore like a freight train, if your partner says you gasp or stop breathing in your sleep, if you wake up with headaches or a dry mouth, and if you have unrelenting daytime sleepiness no matter how long you're in bed, please, I urge you, talk to your doctor about sleep apnea. It is not just about sleep. It is about your heart, your brain, and your bladder. Beyond that, cultivate excellent sleep hygiene. Keep your room dark, cool, and quiet. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. The blue light disrupts melatonin production, which is intricately linked with your entire sleep-wake cycle and hormonal balance. We've covered the mechanics, the hydraulics, and the electronics of your system. But there's one final area that underpins everything, the very soil in which your health grows or withers. This is our fourth point, the inflammatory fire, the connection between your gut, your diet, and your bladder. In modern medicine, we are only just beginning to appreciate the profound impact of chronic, low-grade inflammation on nearly every aspect of health. And your bladder and prostate are not immune. Think of inflammation as a low-level fire smoldering inside your body. It can be triggered by many things, but one of the primary culprits is our modern diet, which is often high in sugar, processed foods, and unhealthy fats. This type of diet creates a state of systemic inflammation. This fire can irritate nerves and tissues throughout the body, and the pelvic region is particularly susceptible. An inflamed gut can lead to an inflamed bladder. An inflamed prostate becomes even more swollen and obstructive. Specific foods and drinks are also known as direct bladder irritants. For some men, the caffeine in their afternoon coffee, the acid in tomato sauce, the spice in their favorite dish, the artificial sweeteners in their diet soda, or the alcohol in their nightly glass of wine can be like throwing gasoline on that inflammatory fire. Their bladder becomes hypersensitive, spasming and sending urgent go signals even when it's not full. I had a patient, Robert, a 74-year-old retired chef. Robert loved life, and for him, life was food. He enjoyed rich sauces, a good steak, and a couple of glasses of fine red wine every evening. He saw his 2 to 3 nightly bathroom trips as the price of admission for a life well lived. He wasn't overly distressed by it, but he admitted it was a nuisance. We talked about his diet. He was resistant to the idea of changing the habits that brought him so much joy. I didn't ask him to give everything up. I simply proposed an experiment. For 2 weeks, I asked him to make a few small changes. He would stop eating and drinking anything except water after 7 p.m. He would swap one of his glasses of wine for a glass of water, and he would reduce the amount of bread and desserts he was eating. He came back 2 weeks later looking genuinely shocked. "It's a miracle," he said. "I'm only getting up once, some nights not at all. I thought it was just my age, my prostate. I never imagined my dinner was the cause." Robert learned that he could still enjoy his food, but with mindfulness. He learned that eating his main meal earlier in the day and keeping his evenings simple had a profound effect on his nights. The solution here is about becoming a detective for your own body. Start paying attention. Does your nocturia get worse after a spicy meal? After a few beers? After a day of eating a lot of sugary snacks? Consider an anti-inflammatory approach to your diet. This isn't about deprivation, it's about abundance. Fill your plate with colorful vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil and avocado, lean proteins, and high-fiber foods. These foods calm the fire and hydrate smartly. Drink plenty of water throughout the day to keep your urine diluted and less irritating, but as we've discussed, taper off in the evening. You are what you eat, and sometimes your bladder is the first one to tell you that. You've made it this far. We've journeyed from the prostate to the heart, from the brain to the gut. You now understand that those nightly awakenings are a complex conversation your body is having. It's a message about pressure, about fluid, about hormones, and about inflammation. Taking control of this is not about finding one magic pill. It's about listening with wisdom and responding with intelligent action. This is about reclaiming your vitality. Imagine waking up feeling truly rested. Imagine a day where your mind is sharp, your energy is steady, and your mood is bright. Imagine the freedom of not having to plan your life around the nearest bathroom. This is not a fantasy. This is the profound benefit of listening to your body and giving it what it needs. You are building a stronger, more resilient future for yourself, one peaceful night at a time. And now, for the final reveal I promised you. We've talked about the obvious culprits like coffee and alcohol. But there is one beverage that millions of men drink in the evening, believing it is the healthiest possible choice, when in fact it can be a primary trigger for nocturia. That beverage is a large mug of herbal tea. It sounds crazy, right? Herbal tea is relaxing, it's healthy, but here's the problem. First, it's about volume. Drinking a big 12 or 16-ounce mug of anything right before bed, even water, is going to put a significant load on your kidneys and bladder overnight. But the second, more subtle problem is the ingredients. Many popular sleepy or detox teas contain herbs that are natural diuretics. Hibiscus, dandelion root, nettle, and even green tea, while healthy in other contexts, all encourage your kidneys to produce more urine. You drink it to relax and sleep, but you are inadvertently giving your body a powerful signal to do the exact opposite of what you want. You're setting yourself up for that 2 a.m. wake-up call. A small 4-ounce cup of a non-diuretic tea like chamomile might be fine, but the large mugs of healthy tea are a hidden saboteur. So where do we go from here? After decades of practicing medicine, I can tell you this. The greatest healing begins when a man gives himself permission to be curious about his own body, not ashamed of it. Your body isn't failing you, it's communicating with you. Those nightly trips to the bathroom are not a curse of aging. They are a call to action, a call to check on your circulation, a call to examine your breathing at night, a call to reconsider what's on your dinner plate, a call to be a wiser, more engaged steward of your own health. You have taken an incredible step today by choosing to become informed. You've learned more about the inner workings of your body than most men will in a lifetime. Do not let this knowledge sit idle. Share this video with a friend, a brother, a partner, any man in your life who deserves to sleep through the night and live with more vitality. Your health journey is not a solitary one. Leave a comment below and tell me which of these 4 connections was the biggest surprise to you. I read these comments, and your stories create a community of strength and shared wisdom. Subscribe to this channel, because my mission is to continue empowering you with the knowledge you need to age not with resignation, but with power, with dignity, and with profound well-being. Your best, most rested years can still be ahead of you. You absolutely deserve them.